Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Wow. Wow. That was incredible. Jalen Hurts was gross. My man just absolutely dominated on the national stage, and the arrogance, the cockiness, the swagger, the celebration, the touchdown run along the right side of the sideline there, the throw to Quez Watkins, the drive before half to get a field goal, the throw to Dallas Goedert in a tight window where there were a couple of defenders. It was dropped, but it was still a sense of growth because we didn't see that in years past. There was a flag on the specific play I'm about to mention, but how about when he rolls to his left and then hits Quez Watkins as he's running out of bounds perfectly? It didn't count, sadly, but my man was all over the field, and I didn't think that the way the Lions handled business by sending 1 billion players his way necessarily told me what I was looking for, because it gave him the escape. It gave him the free pass to run around and do his thing. But my question was, not that I doubted he could, I asked if he could and what it would look like when a team played it differently. Now, I did think at times Minnesota just allowed them to pitch and catch, and it seemed like they had 7 yards. It almost looked like Jonathan Gannon-ish, if I'm going to be honest with you, and I thought Gannon dialed up the timely blitzes, and he had some really good play from his cornerback, Darius. My man could have had 7 interceptions. He destroyed that matchup with Justin Jefferson, and I actually thought that Justin Jefferson making those comments saying he's so much happier to be in Minnesota, that he's the type of dude to actually rise to the occasion and let that fuel him. That he would actually take even another step because the fire would be lit, looking for that extra self-motivation. But he crumbled. He crumbled big time, to the point where as soon as Darius Slay had that first pass breakup and he was bitching and complaining to the referees, you knew that he was in his head. And then Slay everywhere, whether it was because Jonathan Gannon brought some extra help. Like I saw one where C.J. Gardner-Johnson got in there. I saw T.J. Edwards breaking up a nice play over the middle. Constant 3-and-outs. It's almost like things look a lot differently, Gannon, when you actually apply some stuff. Now, I don't love the way that Hassan Reddick is being utilized. But if everything else is clicking the way that it is, I mean, Bradbury got a pass breakup. You just look around. Look around this defense making plays. How big of a play was Fletcher Cox getting to Kirk Cousins? Crazy. Just crazy. This is the type of win, I have to be honest with you. And it's not just overreacting, but this is the type of win that sets a whole new tone. By the way, the link, wow. That place was on fire with intensity. I actually had the goosebumps sitting in my man cave watching, going, these people are the fucking best. I mean, let's be honest. Our city, our passion, booing Jalen Reagor every time there was a punt, and that fool and that dope egging everybody on. What do you think is going to happen? I'm surprised he didn't fumble anything. Or he didn't go backwards 19 yards on any punt returns. The guy's a clown. What an absolute loser. You know who aren't losers? The Eagles. We saw so many videos surface on Twitter today, going back to the Corey Clement when he's in the end zone dancing to Meek Mill. And we wanted it to feel that way. Did it not? Did it not? It's September. They're only 2-0. But you play like that? And if Jalen Hurts is this, he was outrageous. He was so damn lethal. 125 yards to 10 yards after the first quarter. 347 yards to 93 yards after the second quarter. All right? Now let's talk about that first drive. 11 plays, 82 yards. Had to handle some adversity because you had one of the ineligible players downfield calls where in the beginning it was laundry after laundry after laundry just being thrown on the field. Let the fellas play. I'm not here for you. But you had the 3rd and 13 to A.J. Brown. You had the 3rd and 3 to Pascal. I thought when he went to his right, he did it with beauty. And some of these throws that he made, I mean, they're not easy. He made it look easy. He did it in rhythm, and his accuracy was right on the money. And there were open guys all over the field, and he just kept hitting them in stride, perfectly putting it in a window. Like things that we asked him to improve on from last year, he did that and some. And we figured we'd get the best shot at it. Like we never thought if it wasn't going to work out, it would be because of a lack of effort or a lack of preparation and just a mental switch from Jalen. So we figured we'd get everything in the tank. Well, guess what? If this is everything in the tank, be scared. Do you know how many teams, by the way, going back to the whole Justin Jefferson matchup, try and limit him? I asked E.J. Smith, who covers the Inquirer today on 97.5 The Fanatic, the best show ever. I'm like, all right, you don't stop him, but what do you do to limit him? They stopped him. They really did. I don't care what any box goes. Darius Slay had more catches when they were in that matchup than he did. I've never even seen a cornerback display like that in an Eagles uniform, and I don't know how long, if ever. And I'm 27 years old. The way they were completing third downs, they were stopping third downs. I am all through. I am all in my head. And there are emotions that are flowing through to the point where I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. Swear to God. I'm going to watch the extended highlights, and I have the DVR already set, and I'm going to rewatch the whole damn thing tomorrow with my cup of joe. But I'll probably try and find a way to snag 7 or 8 different times running through myself with that extended highlights package that the NFL gives us. Which play was my favorite? How about special teams? Okay, special teams, you're running down an easy touchdown on a blocked field goal. Both times something like that happened, whether it was the blocked field goal or the weird interception that happened off of Kenneth Gainwell's hands, your defense answered the bell. The other side of the football had your back. Didn't even allow points. We're not even talking field goal kicks. We're talking straight up, give it back to us, damn it. Jefferson, with those quotes, cracks me up. They did get lucky, though, the Eagles did, when Irv Smith Jr. had a home run pass that hit his fingers and dropped it. Whew. Now, that was a perfectly placed ball. It went over the defender as he was leaping up. I forget who it exactly was on that play. But speaking of jumping up, Avonte Maddox, since when was that in your skill set? And when he got up and started to let the crowd know, I'm here. Let's go. Let's hear it. My spine started to shiver. He jumped how high? He reached how far up? He had what type of hops? The team's attitude right now is what I'm really feeding into, because it just reminds me of once something phenomenal in this city. You got to hold yourself a certain way and have that image. And it can't be a fake image. You actually have to back it up and support it. And they're off to such a great start. How about Shane Steichen as we're looking through this entire team? I thought the offense had rhythm. And at times, you have to look at the head coach too. Because it's not easy to be an offensive guy and just dating back to last year, making the decision, not worrying about his own persona. If this is what's best for the team, then let's do it. If this is going to help us win on Sundays, just that mentality from the head coach, I think it bleeds through the rest of the roster. But the offensive unit, which Nick has major input on, there was flow. There was rhythm. And the distribution. I figure the distribution would work itself out. Because when A.J. Brown cruises the way he did in week 1, teams are going to take notice. Teams are going to try and take A.J. Brown out of the game, and then other guys will open up. And Quez would find a defense that falls asleep. And then that blistering speed, just a flash. He's already back there, and it's a touchdown for 7. But you just figured over time, it'll be distributed to everybody. So here's the stat lines. Goddard, 82 yards on 5 receptions. Devontae Smith, 80 yards, 7 receptions. Watkins, A.J. Brown, both had 69 yards. Pascal, reliable when needed. Not a wild roll, not a crazy roll, but an important roll. Reliable, it seems, on some third downs over the last 2 weeks, last 2 games. A security blanket, if you will. And then Sanders with 80 yards on the ground. 57 for Hurts with 11 carries. Still a tiny bit higher than I would like for his rushes, but he's also outstanding with it. The touchdown run, the first one, when he plants his foot in the ground, I feel like I've watched defenses and defenders bite at that consistently. Well, that's because they have. But the way that he does it, the fact that he has that in his bag of tricks, it's scary. A downhill runner, tough runner. And I thought he was smart, too, when he needed to lay down. If he saw 2 guys were coming, he just said, screw it. Scratch that. Now, there are times to be methodical with trying to get extra yards. And maybe the score had a reason to play with it and the time on the clock and all that. It's easier to just fall when you're up a couple touchdowns. And to be honest with you, the final frame was 24-7. Didn't it feel like it was a 60-point lead? Didn't it feel like it was a 50-point lead in that barn? It was so loud. He didn't take any extra beating, though, with those carries. So it felt significantly better. Just plopped. Waited to get 2-hand touched, and then we're going to the next play. But I won't get over the folding of the arms cross and the way that he just stood there. Guys feed off that, man. They really do. Think about that in Carson Wentz's personality. I think there's a big difference on how that resonates with the locker room and the fellas. I'm just saying. Because I've had captains, a lot of different captains in my lifetime, and they had different personalities to them. Some are just the hard-working type and different sport, playing hockey, but there was something to be said about how they lead. And then there's the corny guys, but they're good and they do something. Okay, but they're corny. It's hard to relate. There's no swag with it. Oh, come on, dude. He's the corny guy. Not Jalen. And I think he's taken everything that he's heard, and I have been a part of that, of wondering what type of steps he could take and what quarterback he could be if he maximizes everything. Is he a game manager? Is he more? This is more. And this offense has some weapons, so they're going to be a threat. And teams will be nervous to have to face the Phillies, or the Philadelphia Eagles. Not the Phillies. No, not after what I saw in Atlanta. But now it's not the time for that. I always wanted to be the team again. When you see the Eagles logo on your schedule, those fans, when you do the obnoxious, way too early wins and loss thing when the schedule releases, I want them to go, ooh, Philadelphia, that's probably a loss. Ooh, wait a second. We have to go into that atmosphere. We need to go where it's ruthless and it's going to be crazy. Probably an L. Why? Well, because their offense can move the ball. Because they can sustain drives. Because their offensive line can plant you into the ground. How about that second-level blocking from Jason Kelce? One with the Boston Scott run that came out of nowhere. My man was shot out of a cannon. But Kelce in the slow-mo on the replays, pushing guys back, and then he's hitting them in the second level, going to a different guy. Well, there's some things to clean up. Landon Dickerson. And they shot themselves in the foot there because that blocked field goal. Think about what happens prior. But if you remember last year, it kind of started out that way too. And then eventually they got into it and they figured it all out. And I expect Nick Sirianni to do the same thing. Trust me, You go back to the tape, there's not much to be devastated about. There's not much that you have to go fix. It's a week-to-week, matchup-by-matchup league, so things occur. I'm just saying, though. And there was a second game on tonight, right, prior, 7:15. I am not telling you that the Eagles are the Buffalo Bills. Okay, I am not telling you that at all. I loved what I saw tonight, and I didn't think I'd be as high on them after 2 weeks as I am right now, and I'm pleasantly loving every single second of it. But you watch the way that they manhandled the Tennessee Titans, right? There's something about it. There's the eye test. There's the smell test. Let me be very clear. I'm not telling you they're the Buffalo Bills, but the way they won tonight, it reminded me of a football team. When you remove your favorite team and you're watching on Sunday, let's say your team has a bye week or they play on Monday or Thursday. So you're just watching Sunday afternoon Red Zone and you're seeing all the games. And they keep showing one team over and over again. Another touchdown. Devontae, another first down. Dallas Goedert, a big play. Oh, here goes the Eagles again. They're on a drive. Oh, here goes another defensive play, a big blitz or a big interception. Wow, Avonte Maddox. We can't lie. And we've recently felt it too. That's one thing that I think plays a major role. There's a blessing and a curse sometimes in the Super Bowl. And yeah, there is a little bit of a curse in that because of, I think, fan mentality and fan change. Because we wanted it so bad for so long, and we finally got it. So then, maybe there is this element of satisfied. Not everybody, but there's something in human emotion that I think plays a role in that. We finally got it. You take your foot off the gas a little bit. You can live with more tough situations because you got it. You grasped your hands around it. You grabbed the trophy. But here's the positives. You saw what it looked like. I think the game that everyone references that year that you just knew something switched was the Carolina Panthers game. Well, maybe we just got it a bit earlier. Maybe it's not so much a Thursday night game like it was that season, but this time around, it was a Monday night game, and it was early. I'm so proud of this football team, though. It's a big spotlight, and it's coming off of a lot of questions. Who really are the Lions? Why is Jonathan Gannon allowing Swift to run through the defense? How come they couldn't make their tackles? Why did the Vikings? Sorry, now I'm mixing the Lions with the Vikings. But why are the Lions getting back into the game? There were crosshairs on the hot seat of Jonathan Gannon. And I think it cooled off. But now, Jonathan, I saw something against the offense that has weapons, right? Like Thielen and Jefferson, they can make it hard and brutal and a long night. Where instead of being so positive looking at the film, it's the complete opposite. And it's nothing but pain and agony. So now that I've seen that you're capable, which I didn't even know if you were, that's me being 1,000. I had no clue. People kept saying that. The NFL world kept telling everybody. But we didn't really see it, ever. This was the first time I went, whoa. So it is in there. There's no going back. That's all I'm saying. We got to keep it 1,000. Keep it going. So you showed me. All right, baby steps. But what's next? Huh, Gannon? You're going to keep it together? Or do you fall back into your ways? Because I know deep down you want to fall back into your ways. But I love the way you made it a pain in the ass all night long and irritated them. That's what you have to do with this type of talent. Maybe we got to give Howie Roseman credit because Howie Roseman was in those defensive meetings. He was in the room. He was with the fellas, apparently talking about the game plan. Kudos to you, Howie, you dog. You absolute dog. All right. I need a drink because there's a scratch in my throat. So now it's a perfect time to go to the Anytime Hotline and hear from you out there. 856-442-9805. If I don't use your phone call today, I will absolutely use it throughout the week as we continue this fine conversation of amped up Eagles football. But here we go. Anytime Hotline.
Now that is an impressive performance against a team in the Vikings that I think is pretty good. That was a full-scale beatdown, offense, defense, and I guess special teams, although they faltered. Going to single out some people here. Jalen Hurts, great game. Great decisions with the football, ran when he had to, slid when he had to. The interception, not his fault. Great game for Jalen. Darius could have 6 interceptions in the first 2 games. He's dropped about 4 of them. But he shut Justin Jefferson down, eliminated him, and owned the night. And Hunter, did I see an early Christmas miracle? Did Jonathan Gannon actually bring the blitz? Did he actually bring the blitz on back-to-back plays? I think that guy felt the heat coming into the game, and while I'm still not 100% sold on him, he delivered tonight. Great win for the Eagles.
He did. He responded to the criticism. I just feel he's stubborn, and I don't know if he liked it. I know. That's crazy, right? I don't know if I liked it if you're sitting there as Jonathan Gannon, because it shows that some of the things we were calling for, it's funny how that works, too. This isn't the first time over the last few years we've showed frustration. I remember it, Doug, why don't you try running more? Doug, implement some run game. Doug, put the ball on the ground, and let's see if we can work something here. We have one of the best offensive lines in the league. And then they started to do it, and then they started to see success. With Gannon, it's similar. I don't need him to blitz all the time. I just need to see creativeness. I need to see something where there's disguises. Confuse the opponent. Jared Goff wasn't confused in Detroit. There's a reason why teams constantly get the ball out as quick as they do. And there's no pass rush. In week 1, Jared Goff got the ball out, tied for first quickest in the entire league with the blink of an eye. Why? Because they know what they're doing pre-snap. Because players are playing way off and there's no aggressiveness. And aggressiveness doesn't automatically mean sending extra players or sending more guys. There's a way to be aggressive within coverage, too. You saw that. So I am proud of Gannon. It's a step in the right direction. I'm not fully sold. You got to do a lot more than just one game. But I thought the score was going to be 38-30. Because I didn't see a way that they'd stop this offense. They did. I thought Kirk was flustered, though. But credit to the Eagles for forcing Minnesota to look that out of whack. I mean, at times, you seriously just saw Kirk Cousins just try and lob it up and pray that something would happen. And that's when Darius would enter the chat. Looks like with Jalen Hurts, he's talking to the media right now as we speak. Back to the fans. In the stadium, James Harden, Bryce Harper. How about Bradley Cooper? I thought the city really supported this, and everybody's on board. And you might think, why the hell does that really matter in the grand scheme of things? It goes back to what they're giving us. About what they give us, and then our job is to react. But they deserve that respect that we're giving them because they're respecting us with grit and toughness and domination and execution. And their approach, A+. There were a lot of people disappointed that they didn't do much tackling to the ground and they didn't do much in preseason. If this is how they answer that, by starting off 2-0 and then changing everybody's expectations as intensely as they have, well, then maybe you got to give them more credit with it. And that's more of a long-term conversation because every August we have the same exact dialogue, but just something to note. Okay, let's go back to the phones because I'm rambling about nothing at this point. Well, it's something, but I think I'm off tracks a little.
I am so proud of Jalen hurts because I'm not going to lie, I was a bit nervous coming into this game because I was kind of feeling like, what if he's, his first game at home, prime time, the crowd's going wild. What if he's too anxious? What if he makes a couple bad throws, he gets picked off, he throws it away, something happens? But nah, he looks so locked in, so damn determined, so focused. He looks so dialed in. Like he literally looked like he's been in the league for 5 to 10 years. He looked so professional out there. It was so awesome to watch. It was unreal from him. Defense was huge. It was just such a good win, man. Jalen Hurts I hope no one overlooks him, and it was awesome.
I don't think anybody's overlooking what he did. National storyline news, national conversation throughout the entire sports world between that and Josh Allen and what they both did tonight. And real quickly, I know the number one rule of fantasy is no one cares about your fantasy team, but I was going up against Josh Allen and I had Diggs, and it was a super close battle heading into the night. Luckily, basically everything started to go his way when they were scoring touchdowns, so your boy ended up salvaging the Week 2 W, and now we're 1-1 instead of a brutal 0-2 start. But the caller brought up the too anxious, the too hype. Was that a possibility heading into the night? That's totally everything that Jalen Hurts isn't. That was never really a fear for me, too anxious. He might not make the right play or have a poor throw or something along those lines, but he's the most even-keeled dude that I could remember. You don't ride the highs too high. You don't do the lows too low. And he was celebrating afterwards. I saw it on social media, him going nuts and enjoying the moment, but just understanding the moment too. Just like I mentioned, there's lines and everything. And when it comes to him on the field, the guy's just steady. The guy's just steady. The next play, the whole rent is due. Now, it's cliche to me, but it defines him, the player. I was never really worried that would be the case. And I think he proved that there's no reason to ever feel that way. I love it, man. All right, one quick one. Let's see. This is 6 seconds long, so I don't know if this is just an accidental call or maybe just an outburst.
Look, all I gotta say is big play Slay. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Oh, okay. A big play Slay. That was the best game I've seen from him ever in an Eagles uniform. And probably when he was with the Lions, too, because I don't know how much better you can get than that. Everywhere, Darius Slay was. And that's where we're going to end things tonight. I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me. I love you all. Go Birds. Awesome. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you. You're the best. We'll be talking about this win all week long. Catch you guys on the next one.